Robert Greenwood. I am an architect and I'm from many places, but I think you're meaning I'm from the UK. Yeah. My role in this project is as an architect, and I think it's that simple. We had different tasks up through the design process, moving from one area to the next. My main area of responsibility was really for the outside of the building, the cladding of the building, particularly then the roof that becomes this great canopy under the reading room. One of those places where it's always good to come back to. Always coming back to a building that you've not seen for a few years, you're a little worried, you're a little concerned. Are they looking after it? Is the building holding up? But this is such a beautiful place to come back to. It is, I think, a very robust and solid concept. We're using very robust and solid materials that last, that stand up to the wear and tear of life. And there are so many people, visitors in this library, that it takes a very robust concept to stand up. This building this project is really a part of a fairy tale, I think, for many people. Right from its conception, its rootedness in the history of Alexandria, in everyone's actually consciousness. And then coming back to something that we spend a long part of our lives working on, many years. So coming back is always emotional, and it brings back all sorts of memories, all sorts of feelings about that time and that process, which certainly for me, and I think I can say for everybody who was involved, was very, very special time. Getting into this project is really my introduction to Snøhetta. We were at a point where we'd signed the contract to really design the library, 1993, and we were just gearing up to have a team who were capable of taking on this project. So for me, it was a no-brainer. This was a fairy tale that I wanted to be a part of. It went through, of course, as projects do, many phases, but particularly here, working with the Egyptian team, first them visiting us in Oslo, but then later on traveling down to Cairo to meet the whole team, the client, the consultants, and finally, of course, moving the whole design team to Cairo, to Alexandria, became a very closely knit team of people. Living in Cairo was a completely special period for me and for everyone else, I'm sure. It's quite a culture shock coming from Norway down to Egypt and Cairo. It's a huge culture shock. But I think that was a shock that we needed. It's the environment that this building is working in and living in. So being in Cairo was absolutely the right decision. I wouldn't say it made matters any easier. It would have been much easier to sit back in our office in Oslo and design the building. But moving to Cairo, we got exposed to being in Egypt, working, talking with Egyptians, and understanding the environment that this building is going to live in. And that, I think, was invaluable. Well, this building has affected Snøhetta in every possible way. Firstly, of course, it was the project that the company started with, so it was our first building in that respect. But I think it also was the start of a way of working, and a way of working we probably weren't conscious about at the time, but we have now developed through this project a way of engaging everybody in the process, a way of working with architecture in teams, a way of collaborating. This project is the big collaboration. It's thousands of people who had to collaborate to make this the space that it is today. This we took with us right from day one. And certainly the idea that a building can be bigger than itself. You know, buildings, it's a pretty big building, but in the end of the day, it's just a building. But this building transcends its physical sense. And that, I think, is something we've taken with us in many of our projects in later years. This idea that we're not just building objects, we're not just building buildings, we're building something that is much bigger. We're creating projects that really transcend their physical size. There are many things to love and enjoy about this building. I think love is the right word. Love this building. I love this space. I love this reading room. I just love being here. And I'm not the only one who loves being here. People stand in line to get in here at the start of the day. Most libraries, you go through a door and you go into the library. It's a closed box full of cupboards and rooms and bookshelves. Here in Alexandria, you go out into the library. So this is the space. It is much bigger than a room. It is a piece of nature. It's what I tried to say, where it's bigger than itself. You come out into a landscape. It's a terraced landscape, 7 floors, terracing down under the Mediterranean Sea, but it's something where you can breathe. It's a place where you can breathe. And you can focus in the long distance. Our life today is about screens and looking short-sightedly into our screens or our books. Here in Alexandria, you can look up and you can distance, and you can see in the distance and focus in the distance. That long-sightedness is something you get in this space. You don't get many other places. The outside is also something quite shocking, I think. Shocking in a good way. I just love the glimpses you get of this building as you move through this city. It's quite a complex city full of old buildings, lanes and alleys. It's quite a chaotic city. And then through the gap between the buildings, you see this building. Again, it's not a building. It's a piece of nature. It's something much bigger than a building with doors and walls and windows and roofs. It is nature itself. It's man-made, of course, but it's a piece of nature. It feels like it's always been here. It's almost like the library was always here and then they built the city up around the library. Of course, that's not what happened, but it feels that way. It's very difficult to say what's the single most thing we can learn from this project, but I would say one thing very clearly to everybody who is at Snøhetta now or is going to join Snøhetta, is that what you think is impossible, this will never happen, this is too difficult, well, it isn't too difficult. It can happen if you just believe. You believe you can build a place like this. You believe you can build a wall with all the inscriptions of granite all around us. You believe you can build a roof like a canopy of this size and this scale. But you've got to believe. And then even the most impossible things, they're possible. It's a building with many places to be, many places where I enjoy being. I certainly enjoy being all the way at the bottom of this great room. The most beautiful thing about being at the bottom is you can almost touch the roof. You know, here in the middle of the library, the roof is huge, it's high, it's way above you, it's this big tree canopy. When you get down to the bottom, the roof almost comes down to meet you and you can touch it almost. It gives you this human scale into what is a superhuman room. And then you turn around and you look up and you see the library from below looking up. And I often wonder if it's best to look down from the top or look up from the bottom. I think I like looking up.